I wanted to make a quick video. I was answering a question for another person on one of my Barefoot groups on he had anxiety about going into a retail box store without shoes on, or barefoot basically. So I thought that'd make a good topic to talk to you about. So anyways, I too had that trepidation when I first started going to the Walmarts and Sam's and Menards and restaurants and such. That, what would happen? Uh, should I be asked to leave or escorted out, and how embarrassing would that be? And I heard somewhere fear is false evidence appearing real. So then you develop a flow chart in your head. So I take notes because I want to forget my line up here. But anyways, so the first thing I think of is what might happen, because your mind could just spin and twirl all day long about fretting over all the things that could happen. But when you whittle it down to the finest thing, it's the biggest fear is we fear of being embarrassed. So that's probably the key root of what's going on. So number one, you think about what might happen. So the next, number two in the flow chart is, if that thing happens, will it physically hurt me? And if it won't, then you go to the third question in the flow chart. Does it go against God and His standards? So if it won't physically hurt you, and it doesn't go against God's standards, and then you're open to go do it. It's not saying you won't have butterflies the first 2 or 3 times you do it in your gut. We all had at one point, more than likely, had some butterflies. But what I found out is the more you do it, the less you have those butterflies, and after a while, it's normal. I go in and out of my Walmart and my Sam's Club here. They all know me anyways. No problems. I've done it so long, 4 or 5 years now, that I don't even think about it anymore. I have my wife's list of things to pick up, and that's what I'm after. So there is success afterwards, and those butterflies do go away. But so let's talk about what will happen and what did happen. So I went to a Walmart, not my usual ones. I was on vacation and I went to a different one. And I was back in automotive, and the employee came and said I couldn't be barefoot in there. And you and I know, we've read all the literature, that that's not true. And basically, I said that, Walmart doesn't have a policy against customers having to wear shoes. Well, then she got another person, and basically the same thing. You have to have shoes in here. And I told him the same thing, and he didn't believe it. And he got another associate over there. So I have 2. And I said, well, I'd like to talk to the manager. Well, he implied he was the manager. He really wasn't. He was just the lead guy in that particular in the automotive section, but he wasn't a store manager. But I didn't know any better then. So I said, well, corporate says, that they don't have a footwear policy for customers. I said, shall we call corporate so that they could tell you? Because he wouldn't look at the documentation I had copied on my phone. He wasn't interested in that. And I get that, because it could be faked. But anyways, I wasn't prepared. So him and the other gentleman, after I took pictures of their badges, walked me all the way out to the front door. So I went to the motorhome, got some flip-flops, because we had to get transmission fluid and a couple of other things. Went in and got that and left. So I did call corporate. They did confirm they have no footwear policy for customers. So then I talked to my friend who works at Walmart, CJ, good guy, and he said, well, this is what you do next time. You ask to speak to the store lead at a Walmart. It's called a store lead. And then or a salary store manager. Salary store manager, not a guy in charge of cosmetic, or a woman in charge of cosmetics or whatever. A store lead or a store manager, I'm afraid. And you also put the corporate phone number, customer assistant phone number, on your phone. That way, if this comes up, you could speed dial it while they're there, put it on voice, and be able to deal with them. But now that I'm prepared, it's never happened again, but I'm prepared. So I went in, the embarrassing thing happened. They made it as embarrassing as they could by perp-walking me out. And guess what? I survived. It didn't hurt. It didn't injure me. You know, ticked me off, but it didn't hurt or it didn't injure me. So generally, if I'm in a store, and they have the right, you know, especially privately owned stores, they have the right to say, no, you know, you can't do that in here. And then it's their right. Got to remember, it's their right. But most of the time, they just ask you to go, and they don't perp walk you out. And it's been rare out of, what, 5 years, I think, 3 or 4 times it's happened to me. But develop some thick skin. It's no biggie. Just go do it. Go barefoot. Enjoy life. Keep some tweezers with you. All right? Keep some tweezers with you. I have tweezers on my keychain. Just got these off of Amazon. See how pointy they are? Only twice in all these years have I had to take a very small glass shard out or a piece of metal out of my foot. Twice in 5 years. And people are astonished because they think you're going to be constantly injured. But anyways, it's not. So that's what I would do. You'll survive this. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Get your flow chart going. You know, what will happen? Will this physically hurt me? The third one, I'm running, what's the third one? Oh, does this go against God? The most important one. Does this go against God? So those are the 3 ones. If it doesn't do those, just go do it. And on the other side of having done it, though you're relieved that you've done it, you know, you find out in your head, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Me getting perp walked out, I mean, it wasn't like they had the arms behind me or something, or handcuffed. But me getting perp walked out, it didn't hurt me, you know. And I survived it. And it's like, well, that wasn't no big deal. So then you're bolder to go to do the next one. So anyways, that's my thoughts. The Nebraska Barefoot guy. Love you.